Welcome to Feisty Fridays of the Feisty Human. Now. Remember, I am and always will be the Feisty PM because as a project manager, I will always take pride in waving a flag that I know how to manage projects on a relatively vast scale. But I know that the work that I want to do moving forward has more to do with my humanity and less to do with my professional project management experience, let alone my change management experience and all the other things that I have had the incredible privilege to do. I've turned a corner, and with that transition comes a real desire to dig deep in my journey and to be really honest and transparent about the lessons that I've learned, both the hard way and, as you know, for those of you who follow me, the lessons I learn on the fly, the ones that I still have yet to fully embrace and understand, because life is filled with opportunity to learn and grow. And this week, this first week of the Feisty Human, I want to talk about worth. Have you ever noticed how quickly we answer the question, tell me about yourself? Most of us don't tell people who we are. We actually tell them what we do or what we've accomplished. Oh, I'm a director, or oh, I'm a parent, a proud parent. Or some of us might say, I have a PhD, because that's an incredible achievement. Or it could be that you're an entrepreneur and your answer is, oh, I run a business. In fact, I was at an event just this week where I asked someone, and what do you do? And what's your story? And they said, oh, I have my own business. You might, or some people might also talk about something that's recently happened to them, like, oh, I've just recently been promoted. It's kind of like an automatic response to answer people's questions about who we are by talking about what we do. And I mean, those things really matter because what we do ought to be an expression of who we are. My challenge is, though, is that I found in my own career that whether I had been taught this or not, I began to measure myself through my performance, through those achievements. And I think a lot of us do this. I'm pretty confident because the more I chat with people, the more I realize that for a long time, I always thought my next accomplishment would quiet that still, steady voice in the back of my head telling me that then I would be enough or then I would have arrived. Maybe there's one more certification I can get. Maybe there's one more title I can earn. Or in my case, maybe there are more letters I can put behind my name. And man, I got a whole alphabet of letters there. Maybe if I had more letters, people would respect me more. But here's what I've discovered. Achievement is addictive when you're asking it to do the job that it cannot do. Because every achievement gives you a sense of relief until the next one. And that creates a cycle of professional exhaustion. And I really believe that a lot of us are tired and more tired than we want to admit because we're carrying something that was never ours to carry. And that is our worth. You might want to phrase it a different way by saying the responsibility to earn who we are. Because I think that's a lie. I think it's very possible. In fact, I'm betting it's probable that worth was never something that I could earn in the first place. Think about it with me. A newborn baby has no resume, doesn't have any essential productivity or metric to measure that. They have no official professional influence. They certainly don't have any credentials. Yet very, very, very few of us, hopefully none of us, would look at a newborn baby and say, well, let's just see if you're worthy of our affection. Let's just see if you're worthy of our attention. That's ludicrous. In fact, we would say that is evidence of a lack of stability, mental stability. That's sociopathic to believe that an infant must prove their worth before they can be cared for and loved and treated well. But somehow, my friends, as adults, we have forgotten that. We have somehow started believing that our value rises and falls with our performance. And this is especially true in leadership. We celebrate people who do the most. We celebrate people who produce the most. Perhaps even, in my experience, sacrifice the most. And we watch those same people burn out. And we see that there's still something about them that's enticing. The fact that they achieved that makes them somehow even better, even though perhaps the consequence of that is they're not even well enough to continue. It's not sustainable. I watch professionals do this time and time and time again. They achieve amazing things, but they can't sustain the things because in order to get them, it's cost them more than it maybe was worth. Now, I'm speaking about this very intentionally because this has been my journey. And this is absolutely one of the reasons that I created the Feisty Human pathway. The Feisty Human pathway is because I think that we've been asking people to carry something that none of us were meant to carry. And I know for me, this has been true because your worth, my worth, is not something that we achieve. It was never supposed to be earned. It was always supposed to just be remembered. Remembered from that very early stage, that newborn infancy, where our value and worth was intrinsic. And you know what? It doesn't mean as professionals we should stop growing, and it doesn't mean we shouldn't strive. It means we need to stop confusing our growth with our value, because growth changes what you can do, but worth never changes who you are. So this week, I'd love you to pay attention to one sentence, and that is, I want you to ask yourself to finish this sentence. I'll finally feel okay when ... dot, dot, dot. Finish the sentence. Think about it. Perseverate on it. But finish the sentence and do it with honesty to yourself, perhaps even to others. And when you've finished it and you can proclaim the sentence answered with whatever your finishing is, then I want you to ask yourself this question. What if that's not actually where your worth lives? Because I think that question has the power to change far more than we realize. So your homework for this week is to stop confusing your value with your accomplishments. Remember that worth never changes who you are, but growth can change what you do. So pay attention and finish this sentence. I'll finally feel okay when. Finish it honestly, and then ask yourself, what if that when is not actually where your worth lives? Do that, and we will see you next Friday for another Feisty Human moment. I don't know. What do I call these? This is the active discipline of me figuring out and working out for myself and hopefully for you and for others what it means to actually be a feisty human. So thanks for listening, and we'll see you in a week.